So I've been running for a marathon. It's my first marathon that I'm going to be doing with my girlfriend of many years, and we've been training for a big race, probably about 6 weeks from now. And I've taken a particular interest in listening to a podcast that I highly recommend if you are an entrepreneur called the Founders Podcast. I believe it's by David Senra, I think his name is. And he unpacks autobiographies from some of the greatest entrepreneurs, athletes, and conquerors, inventors, artists to ever live. And one thing that I noticed in particular when listening to the autobiography of James Dyson, who invented Dyson, which he's still alive today, he's 78 years old, and he's worth a little bit over $15 billion. And even right now, as I'm speaking to you, my business bank has got cash and I've got cash on the way, but my personal account is pretty dry. I've got a huge tension headache. I'm a little bit tired. I don't feel like making this video. I kind of want to shower and lay down. That's kind of what I want to do. But I'm making this video to demonstrate a point. And that point is that success is all about pain tolerance. It is all about how much can you do when you don't feel like doing it. It is all about how long can you wait for that next client payment to clear, even when you feel like the bank is dry, when your money's tied up in other things. And funny enough, just this week, like Tuesday and Thursday, I've got some large client payments coming through. So I am going to be okay. Don't you worry. I'm not going to be eating, breakfast cereal and milk. I'll be 100% fine. Um, this is what we're built for. Entrepreneurs are built as explorers and inventors. Like we are made to cross unknown regions and know that the worst thing that can happen to us is death. And I want to share this quote here with you from James Dyson, where he says, "What I've learned from running is that the time to push hard is when you're hurting like crazy and you want to give up. Success is often just around the corner." And I even felt this way quite recently when I ran a 30-kilometer race here in Cape Town. We were running up this mountain and the elevation was intense, but I was too focused on the beauty of the view that I wasn't really paying attention. And as I turned my head to the left, I noticed this husband running up this mountain as hard as I was, except he was pushing his wife on a wheelchair up this mountain. And to me, that was just like the most hardcore thing ever. And later on in the race, I was running with my girlfriend. The muscle above my kneecap, the teardrop, started to like spasm. Like it started to like clench, and it was so painful. Like I had to keep my legs straight, but in order to run, you've got to bend your legs. So I was fighting it. It was so painful. And it was right near the finish line. It was probably like 10 minutes away from the finish line. But those 10 minutes felt like forever. And if that's something that you're struggling with right now, maybe you feel like those 10 minutes are just feeling forever. Maybe you also have money tied up in stock. Maybe you're also struggling to pay your employees. Maybe you've got a huge tax bill. Maybe you just spent a lot of money on ads or software. Maybe you got scammed. Maybe you just invested in a consultation or in a mentorship of some sort. These are the days that decide who you are as a character. These are the most important days. It's really not about who you are when you're winning. It's about how you take your losses. It's about how strong of a chin you have when you're in the arena. And yeah, it's crazy, right? Because September for me has been like a record month, and it's been such a big blessing, and I've been sharing that with my loved ones. I spent some time with family on Sunday, and that was incredible. It was like so much laughter, and we were eating good food and playing some table tennis. And I had some good times with my brother. And I took my girlfriend out for dinner last night. We went to this magic Italian place that's been around for I think 30 or 40 years. And we had delicious food. But at the same time, I cannot help but feel overcome by stress. And what's interesting is that for the first time, the stress doesn't feel like weakness. When I was younger, stress would sometimes feel like weakness. But now, the stress that I'm experiencing, it almost feels like a signal. It almost feels like hey, Ben, pay attention. Pay attention to this. And maybe that's something that you can relate on. Maybe there's certain stresses that you're feeling right now. And I can tell you that in my experience, the best thing to do with those stresses is to simply pay attention. Ask yourself, why is this causing me stress? What answer or what action can I provide to this stressor to have it resolved, to have it relieved? And in James Dyson's situation, he was an avid runner. He was a fanatic. He believed that the ultimate stress reducer was crossing the finish line. When you're hurting like crazy and you want to give up, like the finish line is just around the corner. And I've just been realizing this for myself, that pain tolerance is the ultimate weapon if you want to win in business. And I come from a martial arts background, and I think that that's why I'm doing very well for my age, and why I find it easy to structure myself and discipline myself, and to do the gritty hard work that no one else wants to do. And I think in large part it's because I have a background in martial arts and I know how to get hit in the face, literally. I know how to get kicked in the guts and like kneed in the stomach, like literally. Um, and then with running, like if you aren't, up for getting hit in the face and having a bloody nose, running is probably the second best thing you can do. Running is such a powerful form of self-discipline because you're literally telling yourself, I'm stronger than the pain that you're feeling right now, and you're inflicting it on yourself. And it is such a intimate running is like such an intimate self-development activity, because it's kind of like you're shaving away weakness with every step that you take. It literally feels like you're shaving away parts of yourself as you push through and as you fight that feeling of, I don't want to do this. And that's what it's about. It's about how can you get past the things that you don't want to do so that you can help your customers, so that you can do the things that no one else wants to do, so that you can stand out, beat the competition, and ultimately grow your business. And this is a phase that every founder needs to navigate. Like, absolutely. This is a phase that every founder needs to navigate. And that phase is the phase of shaving off weakness from yourself and refining yourself and purifying yourself. And I'm not sure if you're a Christian, but in the Bible, they speak of casting silver and what it's like casting silver, and how grueling of a process it is to smelt the impurities out of silver and out of metal. To cleanse the silver, you have to put it under enormous volumes of heat. And there's an analogy where they say that God holds us under this heat to purify us like silver. And this lady was asking a biblical scholar, why is it that God chose silver to describe us? And the lady was asking the scholar, and the scholar replied that the reason that God had chose silver to describe this process of endurance was that the only way to tell when silver is ready is by looking into it and seeing your own reflection. And she was taken aback, because what the scholar was alluding to was that God loves teaching us endurance. He wants us to be like him. And if I think about Jesus, it's the same story. If you think about how much he had to endure, whether you believe he was God or just a man or whoever, you cannot deny the historical life of Jesus. It's well documented, even amongst atheist historians, that Jesus lived and that he endured a lot of pain, a lot of pain. And I believe that Jesus was God in the flesh, and that he came down to teach us how to love, but also how to face pain. And it's that process, once again, of just shaving away weakness. Because weakness is avoidance. Weakness is cowardice. It's hiding. It's chasing comfort. It's running away. And with that running away, you never experience release. But when you're facing discomfort and you cross that finish line, that's the only real release you will ever experience. So yeah, I wanted to just share that with you. I'm gonna go and have some yogurt, some Greek yogurt, plain, just as like dessert, because I love it. I just had some awesome chicken and rice and veggies, been eating pretty strict, pretty sharp. And the takeaway that I want to leave with you before I say goodbye is just when you are changing your life, when you are changing your life will change. And that change can feel uncertain, it can feel difficult, it can feel like you're stuck in darkness and you're not sure what to do next. But what's awesome is that the original reason why you chose to change is because you're not happy with where you are. And in order to get to where you want to be, you have to get out of the muck that you're in. And that process of leaving the muck is painful, because you have to shave away the weakness. You have to shave away the muck that you're in to get to where you want to go. So when you change, your life will change, and that change will feel painful. It will be very painful. And this is something that we see everywhere in nature. Like, humans aren't different. You know, I recently saw a video of these two like deer who had antlers, and their antlers actually shed, and the shedding causes like so much blood and like itch, and they scratch their antlers against like trees to try and like, soothe it. So change, and the difficulty of change, and the difficulty of success, it's not only a human thing, it's a natural thing. So if that makes you feel less alone, then you're welcome. But thank you for sitting with me today, spending some time, and you stay blessed. You keep climbing whatever mountain you're climbing, and I'm going to keep working hard. I'm going to keep chasing the next thing and the next big goal. And I've got some big running training to do tomorrow, and I've got a lot of client campaigns to build tomorrow as well. It's going to be a full day. Bye for now.